Yusa is a good-for-nothing loser who came to a small city to goon to hot girls' magazines. Until one day he joins a hostel run by a minion old lady and other weirdos, but after seeing the old lady's baddie granddaughter, he decided to stay and goon to her. Yusa Kazunari is a high school student who wishes for a calm and easy life. He thinks high school would be even better if he had a girlfriend to share his time with. One day, Yusa is at a bookstore and sees a pretty girl. He secretly hopes he could be with her. While he's thinking about this and letting out a sigh, his friend Tagami appears. Tagami tells Yusa it's time to go home. Tagami also reminds him that he's moving today. As Yusa walks to his new place, he passes an elementary school. There, he meets a strange man named Shirosaki Shizuru. Shirosaki is standing near the school and seems to be watching the kids closely. Suddenly, Shaki turns and says Yusa's name, which surprises Yusa because they've never met. Just then, a police officer arrives and says someone reported a suspicious person near the school. Yusa quickly points at Shirosaki and says he's the pervert. Shirosaki says he's not and that he was just looking at a hole in the wall out of interest. The officer says being curious is normal. Because Shirosaki is acting strange and can't control his odd thoughts, they take him away. Yusa finally got to his new home. He met the landlady, an old, friendly woman named Sumiko Kawai. As she showed him his room, as he started to unpack, he heard a voice he knew. He was shocked to see that Shirosaki would be his roommate! Yusa was not happy. Shirosaki seemed really strange and creepy, but Yusa tried to stay calm. He told himself that Shirosaki was just a weird guy who probably wouldn't cause any problems. Yusa still hoped to have a quiet life. He didn't want to deal with anyone causing trouble. So, he decided to leave, but as he reached the door, he saw a girl he recognized from the bookstore. She was really pretty. Her name was Ritsu Kawai, and she was the granddaughter of the landlady Sumiko. Yusa was amazed by how beautiful she was. He couldn't believe his good fortune. He felt like maybe living here wouldn't be so bad after all, especially with someone like Ritsu around. He started to rethink his decision to leave. Maybe, just maybe, this place could be a good fit for him after all. Shirosaki, now called Shiro, and Sumiko introduced Yusa to everyone. Yusa was a bit nervous but also excited. He tried to talk to Ritsu, but she wasn't very friendly. She told him he couldn't go into the girls' area. Sumiko explained that the house was divided. There was a part for boys and a part for girls, because they needed different things. Shiro said he liked being seen as less important than women, which was odd, but Yusa wasn't surprised. Sumiko said the girls' area had weapons to keep them safe, so it was okay that Shiro lived there. Yusa didn't feel totally at ease, so he called his mom. He told her everything. His mom said the house was cheap and had free food. She reminded him that he chose to move out. This was because of something that happened in middle school, but we don't know what yet. After thinking about it, Yusa started to feel that the house was calm and welcoming. He began to like the place a bit. He realized that maybe it wouldn't be so bad after all. He started to think that he could actually enjoy living there, despite the weirdness of Shiro and the coldness of Ritsu. He decided to give it a real chance. Later, Yusa wanted to take a walk and see where Ritsu lived, but before he could, Sumiko showed up. She told him about the dining room when they eat, and that he would eat with everyone, including Ritsu. Yusa was happy about this. As he walked around, he saw Ritsu reading a book alone. He thought she looked even prettier because she loved reading. He watched her from far away, enjoying the quiet moment. But then, Shiro showed up and ruined the peace. He wanted to know where he would sleep because his stuff hadn't come yet. Shiro said some weird things that made Ritsu uncomfortable. Yusa tried to say he wasn't like Shiro, but he accidentally went into the girls' area and got hurt. 3 days later, Yusa was getting used to the strange house. Shiro started to do some kind of pretend game, but Yusa walked in and messed it up. Shiro said that Yusa still hadn't met the other 2 girls who lived there, Mayumi Nishikino and Sayaka Watabe. They were away traveling right now. Yusa was starting to learn the rules of the house, even though things were still a little odd. He was slowly adjusting to the strange people and the unusual way of life there. Later, Yusa asked Shiro to go buy fish, but he accidentally sounded like he was telling Shiro what to do. Shiro, who liked being bossed around, was happy and said yes. Feeling a bit stressed by everything, Yusa went for another walk. He saw a woman drinking near a river. She looked very sad and angry. She said she wanted to get rid of a ring and was yelling about someone who hurt her feelings. Yusa was worried she might fall in the river, so he tried to calm her down. The woman told him not to try to flirt with her because he was young. Yusa said he just wanted to help. Instead of calming down, she got more upset and said he was turning her down. She tried to jump into the river, but Yusa grabbed her and tried to stop her. They fought for a bit until she finally calmed down. Then, she asked if she could eat something called oken, and said Sumiko's name. Yusa heard this, but he didn't know what it meant. He was starting to get used to the weird things that happened in the house, but this was still a lot to take in. Suddenly, the woman started flirting with Yusa. He was too shy to say no, especially since he was a teenager. Then, Ritsu showed up and hit the woman to stop her. It turned out the drunk lady was Mayumi, who also lived in the house. Later, Mayumi tried to jump on Yusa again, but Ritsu stopped her. They both fell on top of him and hurt him. Back at the house, Sumiko told them off and thanked Yusa for helping. They found out Mayumi came home early because her boyfriend was cheating on her. Everyone sighed, knowing Mayumi always had bad luck with love. At dinner, everyone sat down to eat. Yusa thought they have fish, but he realized he had cooked oken for Mayumi earlier. While eating, he saw something special. Ritsu smiled for the first time. That small smile made Yusa happy and gave him hope for his new life in the strange but interesting house. He was starting to feel like he belonged, even though things were still very weird. He looked forward to what tomorrow would bring. It's vacation time at the house. Sumiko tells everyone she's going away for a bit and asks if they'll be busy. Everyone says yes, they all have plans, except for Yusa. Even though he has nothing to do, Sumiko still leaves Ritsu in charge of the house. After Sumiko leaves, Yusa is really bored. He doesn't have any money, so he can't go anywhere fun. Ritsu stays in the library all day, so Yusa barely sees her. Sharo is doing something in his room, but we don't know what yet. Because he's bored, Sharo asks Yusa to go get Mayumi to join him. Sharo says Mayumi might like what he's doing. Yusa goes to find Mayumi. He sees her leaving her room. She looks very sad. Yusa tries to make her feel better and tells her that Shiro wants her to join in something fun, but this makes Mayumi feel worse. She feels like even Shiro, who she thinks is a bit strange, is having fun, but she's not. Yusa realizes that Mayumi is still upset about her boyfriend. He feels bad for her, but doesn't know what to do. He wishes he could help her feel better, but he's just a teenager and doesn't know much about these things. He decides to leave her alone, hoping she will feel better soon. Later, Yusa calls out to Mayumi and Shiro. Through the window, they see Yusa playing with soap bubbles. This makes Mayumi feel a little better, and she decides to join in. Shiro joins too. Soon the three of them are laughing and having fun together. It makes everyone happy. Ritsu comes back from the library and sees them. She watches from far away and feels a little happy inside. Yusa sees her and asks her to come and play too. She says no at first and sits down with her book, but Yusa can tell that Ritsu wants to be with them. Yusa asks her again. This time, Ritsu says yes and joins them. As they play with the bubbles, some soap gets in Ritsu's mouth. She starts saying things that sound innocent, but they could be taken the wrong way. Yusa gets a little embarrassed hearing this, and Mayumi and Shiro tease him a lot. Ritsu understands what's happening and hits Yusa for having silly thoughts. When evening comes, Sumiko returns from her trip. The next day, Ritsu still seems a little sad about what happened. Sumiko and Mayumi are outside, hanging their clothes to dry. Mayumi makes fun of Yusa a bit, but he just wants to get his work done because it has been raining a lot lately. He decides to hang his clothes somewhere else to avoid Mayumi's teasing. As he walks, Yusa finds something on the ground that looks like underwear. He gets scared, thinking someone might see him with it and think the wrong things. Suddenly, Sharo appears and picks it up. It turns out it's just a hair tie that belongs to Mayumi. They all go back to where Sumiko is, and Shiro and Yusa hang their clothes there too. While they do this, they have a good chat. They find out that Shiro has always been a little different, even when he was younger. Ritsu arrives and gives the rest of the clothes to Sumiko. Sumiko and Ritsu talk about how Yusa is starting to get along well with everyone. Yusa feels relieved and happy that he's starting to fit in better with his friends. He appreciates their friendship and the fun they share. Sumiko suggests Ritsu could join them more often, but Ritsu says no. So, Sumiko asks her to help with the laundry and also tells Yusa to help her. While working together, Yusa feels like he wants to talk to Ritsu more, but he doesn't know what to say. So he starts asking her simple yes or no questions. They finish hanging the curtains but still haven't talked much. Yusa tries to say something again, but suddenly a strong wind blows through. This causes a funny scene where Yusa accidentally makes a silly pun. Ritsu laughs out loud at the joke. Yusa realizes that Ritsu really enjoys jokes and puns. Sharo walks over to them, but they can't stop laughing because they keep thinking about how funny Sharo looked earlier. Later, when everyone is sitting in the dining room, Sumiko asks why they're laughing so much. Ritsu quietly signals Yusa not to say the real reason, but he ends up saying it's something about art. They all laugh again. Yusa feels really happy because he made Ritsu laugh. While returning the laundry baskets, he finds another hair tie. He asks in the dining room whose it is, and it turns out to belong to Sumiko. Some days pass, and we see Yusa in a strange situation with Mayumi. It looks like trouble, but in reality, he is using something embarrassing about Sharo to get Mayumi to go watch horror movies. Mayumi is drinking and feeling sad because a younger coworker is getting married, and she is still single. Yusa hears this and comes up with a plan. He decides to make the room scary like a haunted house. He decorates everything very well, making it look super real. He feels a little scared to watch the horror movie, but Sumiko arrives bringing Ritsu with her, which makes him happy. Ritsu acts tough and says scary movies are not a big deal, but we can tell she is actually scared. The boys tease her a bit, and Ritsu hears them, so she decides to stay and watch the movie to prove she's not afraid. Everyone sits together to watch. Ritsu is the only one shaking with fear, and Yusa finds this adorable. During the movie, they start talking about Sayaka, another person who lives in the house. Yusa tricks Ritsu by asking her to look at the screen, saying someone looks like Sumiko, but just then, a scary scene appears and Ritsu screams. She gets mad at Yusa for lying, but he doesn't mind because he gets to see her cute, scared face. When the movie ends, Sharo and Mayumi want to watch another one, but Ritsu is too scared. She runs to the bathroom, and Mayumi goes with her. Even though Ritsu tries to act brave, everyone now knows that she's really afraid of scary things. Just then, someone shows up. It's Sayaka, the final member of the house. She teases Mayumi right away. Everyone gathers in the dining room to introduce Sayaka to Yusa. Sayaka looks like a normal girl, but Mayumi tells Yusa not to be fooled. She says Sayaka is just pretending, and in reality, she's just as weird as the rest of them. Yusa starts to understand that nobody in this house is completely normal. At school, Yusa stands outside and waits. He hopes Ritsu will come out soon so they can walk home together, but Ritsu doesn't come. She chooses to stay in the library a little longer. This makes Yusa feel a little sad inside. He starts thinking to himself, are they really getting closer, or he is just hoping too much? While he is standing there, another boy named Tagami shows up. Tagami is also waiting for someone. It doesn't take long for Yusa to guess that Tagami is waiting for Ritsu too. Yusa starts teasing him in a playful way. He jokes that maybe Tagami likes Ritsu as well. Tagami doesn't say much, but Yusa keeps watching him with curious eyes. Later, when Yusa returns home, a big package is waiting for him. He opens it and gets super excited. Inside the box is a bicycle that he has been saving money for. He used all of his savings just to buy it. He is very happy and proud of it, but right away, Mayumi and Shiro, the other people living in the boarding house, start making fun of him like they always do. They laugh and say silly things about the bike. While everyone is still laughing, Ritsu and Sayaka come home. Sayaka looks at the bike and smiles. She says now that he has a bike, he can take Ritsu to school every morning. Yusa feels excited after hearing that. He quickly tells everyone he doesn't mind. He even shows Ritsu where she can sit on the back, but the nice moment is ruined when Sharo says that his weird items are still on the back seat. Ritsu hears this and looks uncomfortable. She doesn't say anything, but it's clear she feels a bit grossed out. The next morning, Yusa wakes up full of energy. He gets ready fast and waits outside with his bike. When Ritsu comes out, he happily offers to take her to school on his new bike, but Ritsu replies in a cold voice, saying she would rather die than ride with him. Her words hit Yusa hard. His smile fades, and he rides off quickly, feeling very upset. Everyone in the house hears what she said and starts teasing Ritsu. They think it's funny, but Ritsu doesn't say much. Later, an interesting secret is revealed. It turns out that Ritsu's mother actually owns the whole boarding house. And Sumiko, the old lady who lives there and acts like the boss, is just a caretaker. She only manages the place, but the real owner is Ritsu's mom. Sumiko warns everyone that if they keep teasing Ritsu, her mom might raise the rent. That scares them, and they all quickly say sorry. Ritsu stays quiet, but it looks like she feels a little guilty for what she said to Yusa in the morning. That same day, Yusa needs to return some books to the school library. He also wants to borrow a few more, but he feels nervous because he knows Ritsu is usually in the library. Still, he walks in. Inside, Ritsu comes up to him quietly and says sorry for being rude earlier. Her apology is a bit awkward, but Yusa understands. They both smile a little and fix the bad feeling between them. Back at the house, the dining room is noisy as usual. People are talking, laughing, and making jokes that Yusa doesn't pay attention to the noise. He only sees Ritsu sitting in the corner, looking sad and wiping her eyes. He walks over and gently asks if she's okay. Ritsu says she's fine, but Yusa still feels worried. While this is happening, Mayumi starts getting phone calls and texts from her ex-boyfriend. Everyone in the house already knows what will happen. She will reply to the messages, feel regret later, and then complain about it loudly. It's something she does often, so no one is surprised. Ritsu walks over and asks why Mayumi looks so happy today. Yusa explains the whole situation, says he doesn't understand why Mayumi always goes back to her ex. Surprisingly, says she understands Mayumi's feelings. This surprises Yusa, and he starts wondering if Ritsu also had a boyfriend in the past. The next morning, Mayumi does her makeup and styles her hair. Everyone knows this means she is going to meet her ex again. Mayumi says it's not a big deal. She says she's only meeting him for a quick chat, but by evening, she is all dressed up like she's going to a fancy restaurant. Everyone in the house starts preparing for the usual drama. Before Mayumi leaves, Ritz stops her and asks her a serious question. She asks is she really happy with this. Mayumi doesn't answer, but the question stays in her mind. At the restaurant, she meets her ex, but she soon realizes he doesn't really care about her. He only wants to use her. Mayumi becomes tired of men like him. She finally tells him no and walks away from the table. She comes back to the house looking tired and sad, but as she enters, she sees something unexpected. There's a big message left by the others. It's a prank to cheer her up. She smiles a little. Then Ritsu comes closer and says some kind and soft words to comfort her. Everyone is surprised. They didn't expect Ritsu to be so sweet. Ritsu explains why she wanted to help. She says she has been reading books where the main girl dates different men but never truly falls in love. She says Mayumi reminded her of those stories, so she felt connected. Yusa hears this and feels relieved. Now he knows Ritz isn't secretly in love with anyone. Another day, Yusa comes home from school and sees Sayaka arguing with someone on the street. He calls out to her, but the situation becomes worse. It looks like the other person might hit Yusa, but then Ritsu shows up and distracts the person just in time. Moments later, Shiro arrives with a police officer. Everything is solved quickly, all thanks to Shiro's strange habits, which somehow help this time. Back inside, things calm down. Sumiko tells Sayaka not to bring her personal problems into the house again. She says if it happens one more time, there will be big trouble. Sayaka and Mayumi start arguing again, and Shiro makes it worse by saying Sayaka uses too much makeup. Sayaka gets angry and hits him. Later in the hallway, Yusa finds Ritsu and says thank you for helping him earlier. He tells her she was really brave, not just for saving him but also for stopping Mayumi from doing something bad. Ritz becomes very shy and turns red. She doesn't want to hear so many compliments, but Yusa doesn't realize it and keeps talking. Ritsu becomes more and more embarrassed. From the side, Mahumi and Sayaka are watching everything. Sayaka wants to cause a little trouble, so she tells Yusa that Ritsu is feeling very lonely and sad. Yusa believes her and gets really worried, but then Sumiko hears what Sayaka is doing. She gets angry and tells Sayaka to stop causing problems. She warns her that if it happens again, living in the house won't be so easy anymore. The next day, Yusa wakes up with a new thought in his heart. He wants to make Ritsu smile more often. He believes that if he stays near her and spends more time with her, she won't feel so lonely. Yusa begins to act more caring and puts an extra effort to be around her. To his surprise, Ritsu doesn't push him away. She lets him walk beside her and spend time with her. This makes Yusa feel hopeful. Maybe she's finally starting to accept him. Later that evening, everyone is sitting together in the shared dining area of their boarding house. Sumiko, the caretaker of the house, brings some drinks for the adults. Normally, Mayumi is the first to take a drink, but this time, she says no. Everyone looks at her in shock. It's not like her to refuse alcohol. Mayumi explains that she is going on a diet. One of her friends is throwing a party soon, and she wants to look her best at the event. After drinking a little, Mayumi starts speaking more seriously. She talks about friendship and says that being friends with people is harder than it looks. There are lots of unspoken rules, and sometimes it's hard to follow them all. She looks at Ritsu and asks if she agrees. Before Ritsu can answer, Sayaka laughs loudly. She teases Ritsu by saying she wouldn't know anything about friendship since she doesn't have any friends. Sayaka says that Ritsu prefers books over people. The conversation continues as the drinks flow, and soon, everyone starts getting a little drunk. At that point, Sumiko decides that it's time to stop. She tells everyone to go to bed. The group slowly leaves the table, and the room becomes quiet again. That night, Yusa lies on his bed, having a small chat with Shiro. He shares his worries about Ritsu. He says he doesn't want her to feel left out or lonely anymore. Shiro, as usual, doesn't give any helpful answers, but Yusa keeps thinking about what he should do to make things better. The next day at school, Yusa continues his plan. He walks with Ritsu again, hoping that his presence will comfort her, but then Ritsu asks him a serious question. She wonders if he is only doing all of this because of what she said before. She tries to explain herself. She tells him that she actually enjoys being alone and finds happiness in reading books. She doesn't feel lonely at all, but Yusa finds it hard to believe her. In his heart, he still thinks she needs someone by her side. Ritsu can tell that he won't stop even after she says she's okay. So, she changes the topic and asks if it's hard for him to live with so many weird people in the boarding house. Yusa laughs and says he doesn't mind it. He says he is used to all of them. This creates a bit of confusion. Yusa thinks Ritsu is worried about him, which makes him feel happy, but Ritsu thinks Yusa is just a strange guy who doesn't get what she's saying. From that moment on, Yusa keeps sticking close to her, thinking he's helping, but Ritsu begins to feel pressured and stressed. She doesn't say it out loud, but deep inside, she starts feeling overwhelmed. A few days later, after school ends, Ritsu doesn't show up outside. Yusa waits for a while and then decides to go look for her. He guesses that she might be at the city library, and he's right. He finds her inside, surrounded by books. Just as he is about to greet her, he sees a group of girls walking over to Ritsu. They are friendly and excited to see her. They talk happily, laugh together, and even share phone numbers. It becomes clear that Ritsu does have friends after all. Yusa watches everything silently. Ritsu sees that he's been watching and suddenly walks away in a hurry. Yusa follows her, still believing that she's lonely and needs help, but then Ritsu turns around, her face full of frustration. She yells at him, telling him to stop following her and leave her alone. Her voice is loud and full of emotion. Yusa stands still, shocked and hurt by her sudden outburst. That night, Yusa stays quiet and alone. He sits in his room feeling sad and lost. He starts thinking that maybe he was wrong. Maybe all the things he did for Ritsu weren't helping her at all. They may have just made things worse. Mayumi finds him and sits beside him. She reminds him that she had told him not to trust everything Sayaka says. Mayumi says that sometimes being too close to someone can hurt them. She tells Yusa that maybe he pushed Ritsu too much without realizing it. The next morning, Shiro finds Ritsu sitting quietly in a corner of the house. She looks down and upset. He notices that something is bothering her. Ritsu slowly starts to talk. She tells him that she likes being alone, but she also hates when people call her a loner. She feels confused. She didn't mean to yell at Yusa, but the pressure had built up. This time, Shiro doesn't act silly. He listens like a mature adult and gives her gentle advice. He says that trying to fit in is something that everyone struggles with. herself, especially at her age. He explains that with time, she will understand that being herself is perfectly fine. She doesn't need to act differently or force friendships. She just needs to take things slowly. Yusa, who is nearby, hears their conversation. He finally understands that Ritsu never needed someone to change her. She just needed someone who would accept her as she is. After school, Yusa sees Ritsu again. This time, he doesn't run after her or try to talk too much. He simply walks beside her while she reads her book. He stays quiet, giving her the space she wants, but even then, he notices something strange. Ritsu is holding her book, but she's not really reading it. Her eyes look distracted and she seems lost in thought. This makes him feel a little worried. So, without saying much, he gently offers his help. Together, they walk back home. The walk is quiet but peaceful. There are no loud words or deep conversations. Just two people walking side by side, slowly understanding each other better. Now, Yusa learns something very important. He realizes that being there for someone doesn't always mean talking or doing something big. Sometimes, just staying close and giving them space is the best way to help. He doesn't need to change Ritsu or make her talk. By being gentle and respectful, he can support her without pressuring her. From that day on, their relationship started to grow in a different way. There's no rush, no pushing, and no confusion. Just a quiet bond that slowly becomes stronger. Ritsu begins to feel safe around Yusa. For the first time, she enjoys his company without feeling stressed or confused. She feels understood, and that makes her smile even if just a little. Back to boarding house, Yusa feels happy. He doesn't expect anything big to happen, but just being near Ritsu, giving her space, and seeing her feel better makes him content. He knows now that sometimes, small steps are enough to build a real connection. When Yusa and Ritsu finally return to the boarding house, they walk into a very strange scene. In the living room, Mamumi is yelling loudly, looking angry and shocked. At the same time, Sayaka is drunk and acting very strange. She smells strongly of alcohol and is trying to hug Mayumi in a weird way. Her face is red, and it's clear that she's had too much to drink and can't control herself. Just in time, Sumiko walks in with Shiro beside her. They both see the chaos and quickly move in to stop Sayaka before she causes more problems. Together, they calm her down and lead her away from Mayumi. Soon, everyone sits down in the dining area. They all want to know why Sayaka is acting this way. Sayaka begins to explain everything. She tells them that she went on a group date with some other people. While there, she saw her ex-boyfriend, someone she didn't expect to meet. During the date, her ex suddenly kissed her without asking, and it made her feel very uncomfortable and angry. In response, Sayaka punched him in the face. After that, she felt terrible and couldn't stop thinking about the kiss. To try to forget it, she got drunk and thought that kissing Mayumi might help erase the bad memory. Everyone is shocked by her words. Mayumi tries to act proud and shuts. Men never forget a woman. But the others just stare at her. Inside, they are all thinking, that's funny coming from her. The whole room becomes filled with awkward silence. As the mood calms down, Sayaka begins teasing the girls in the house. She talks about their habits and small secrets. Everyone laughs, even though some feel embarrassed, but she focuses most of her teasing on Ritsu. She jokes that Ritsu doesn't know much about love or people because she's always reading books. Ritsu looks uncomfortable but doesn't say anything. Then, Sayaka tries to pretend to kiss Ritsu, still being playful, but before she gets close, Yusa quickly steps in and puts his arm between them. He wants to protect Ritsu from feeling embarrassed, but something unexpected happens. Ritsu's lips accidentally touch Yusa's arm, and it feels like a soft kiss. Both of them freeze on the shocked and blushing hard. Ritsu becomes very shy and quickly runs to her room. Yusa tries to go after her, but she moves too fast and he can't catch up. A little later, Sumiko finds Yusa standing in the hallway. Looking lost and unsure, she gently talks to him. She tells him not to worry. Ritsu is not angry at him. Sumiko adds that even quiet and shy people like Ritsu need someone to care for them. Her kind words help Yusa feel better. During dinner, everyone is back at the table. Ritsu and Yusa sit at the same table, but they keep avoiding each other's eyes. The air between them feels heavy. Then, Mayumi, being loud and direct as always, yells, "Will they two just look at each other already? Young love is so full of drama." Everyone laughs and the tension starts to fade. Even Ritsu and Yusa smile a little. The next morning, the house feels lively. Sumiko finds some old water guns in a storage room and gets an idea. She tells everyone they should have a water fight outside. Everyone agrees excitedly. Soon, the yard is full of laughter, splashes, and people running around with water guns. Even Ritsu joins in. For once, she forgets about being shy and just enjoys the moment. She smiles, laughs, and even plays with Yusa without feeling awkward. After the game, everyone goes inside to clean up. They take showers and change into dry clothes. While walking through the house, Yusa sees a book on the table. It's the one Ritsu has been reading lately. Feeling curious, he picks it up and starts to read. A few minutes later, Ritsu walks in and sees him with her book. She looks surprised and asks why he's reading it. Yusa answers honestly. He says he noticed that ever since she started that book, she's looked happier. So, he wanted to understand what made her feel that way. Ritsu blushes at his words. She realizes he's right. The book really did make her feel better. And the fact that Yusa noticed makes her heart feel warm. Yusa tells her that he usually finds books hard to enjoy, but this one feels light and fun. Ritsu agrees. They start chatting about the story. It's just a small talk, but it brings them closer. Ritsu smiles and offers to lend the book to him so he can read the rest of it. The next day, Yusa is still reading the book and seems really into it. Ritsu walks up to him and asks which part he's on. He says he's now reading chapter 4. Just then, Mayumi appears. She sees Yusa with the book and begins teasing him, making fun of him for reading a romance story. Yusa gets annoyed and starts arguing with her. While they're busy fighting, they don't notice that Ritsu has walked away quietly. She feels left out and a bit sad again. That evening, the house is peaceful. Everyone is sitting in the dining room, chatting calmly. Suddenly, someone finds out something surprising. Shiro is actually a novel writer. Yusa is amazed. He had no idea. Sumiko thinks of a fun idea to cheer everyone up. She suggests that they all work together to create a story, but only the girls are allowed to add to it. It's their way of teasing Yusa and Shiro. As the group builds the story together, Shar starts getting inspired. Even though they're just joking and laughing, it gives him new ideas for his writing. After a while, everyone starts feeling tired and heads to their rooms to sleep. Before Yusa leaves the dining room, Shiro gives him some advice. He tells him not to stay up too late reading. Yusa laughs and says he can't help it. The book is just too fun. Ritsu hears this and agrees. She mentions her favorite part of the book, and they start talking again. This time, they don't agree on everything. Their opinions on some parts of the book are different. Yusa worries that maybe he said something wrong, but Ritsu smiles and tells him it's okay. She says people can like different things, and sharing those thoughts makes talks more interesting. Yusa feels happy hearing that. He understands something important. He and Ritsu are slowly growing closer, not because he's trying hard, but because they are sharing real moments. They talk, laugh, and support each other naturally. And for Ritsu, this kind of closeness feels right. She feels like Yusa truly understands her and accepts her just she is quiet, shy, and still learning how to be around others. That simple feeling makes her feel safe and happy. Ritsu and Yusa come back home just like they do every day. It seems like a normal day until Yusa's phone rings. It's his mom calling him. She tells him that their rent money will be a bit late this month. Yusa feels a little worried, but Ritsu hears the call and quickly tells him not to stress. She smiles and explains that it's not a big problem because even Mayumi and Sayaka, the other people living in the house, sometimes pay their rent late too. Then Ya, who is also there, suddenly wonders how Shiro manages his rent payments. Everyone agrees that Shiro is a very serious and responsible guy, but now they are all curious. Where does he get his money from? Later, they see Shiro outside working with a bunch of bamboo sticks. He is helping a friend of Sumiko, the old lady who owns the house. In return for helping, he gets a lot of bamboo. Back at the house, Mayumi sees the bamboo and asks what they are going to do with it. The others come up with funny and silly ideas, but none of them are useful or practical. Suddenly, Shiro gets a call from the police. Everyone becomes tense, thinking something bad has happened, but then Shiro smiles. It turns out to be good news. The police have found the person who lost the wallet that Shiro returned a while ago. That person wants to meet him and thank him face to face. When they find out the person is a girl, everyone in the house gets excited. They all want to see what happens next. The next day, the girl comes to the house with her mother. They are both polite and speak kindly. However, the mother seems a little unsure about Shiro and thinks he's a bit odd. Yusa invites them to stay for pudding, a dessert that everyone in the house enjoys. The mother doesn't want to stay, but the girl smiles and says she wants to try the pudding. So, they both sit and eat. After the pudding, Shiro goes back to working on something using the bamboo. The girl becomes curious and asks him what he is making. Shiro tells her it's a fun game. She asks if it's for little kids, but he says no. He explains that games are for everyone, even adults. He believes adults should also have fun and play sometimes. The girl watches Shiro work all afternoon. He keeps building, but the game isn't finished by the end of the day. As she gets ready to leave, Shiro kindly invites her to come back tomorrow to see the final version. The girl says yes, but Shiro quietly thinks she won't come back. But the next morning, something surprising happens. The girl shows up at the door again. Shiro is shocked but happy to see her. The game is still not done, so the girl says she wants to help. They work on it together, and it starts to take shape quickly. Days go by, and the girl keeps coming back to help Shiro. Everyone in the house notices this. Some of them start to feel a little worried about what's going on between them, but they also know that Shiro is a good and serious person, so they decide to trust him. When the game is finally done, the girl tells Shiro something unexpected. She says she likes him. Shiro stays calm. He smiles gently and tells her that if she still feels this way when she is older, then he will think about it. The others in the house hear this and feel proud of how mature Shiro is. Later that day, Sumiko asks Shiro for a small favor, so he leaves for a while. While he is gone, the others talk to the girl. Mayumi thinks the girl is becoming too attached to Shiro. She tries to talk to her and says some things that are too harsh. She tells the girl that it's better to forget about Shiro. These words hurt the girl's feelings, and she begins to cry. That evening, they finally ask the girl what her name is. She tells them her name is Chinatsu, but after that day, Chinatsu doesn't come back to the house. Shiro begins to notice her absence and wonders why she hasn't returned. The others finally tell him what Mayumi said. Mayumi feels sorry and promises to apologize if Chinatsu comes again, but many days pass and Chinatsu never returns. One day, Ritsu and Yusa are walking outside. They spot Chinatsu from a distance. She looks like she is waiting for someone, but the other girls from the house are ignoring her. Ritsu and Yusa talk about what really happened. They realize that Chinatsu cried because Mayumi called her annoying and said she wouldn't have any friends. Suddenly, Chinatsu's mother shows up looking very worried. She says she can't find her daughter. Everyone at the house gets involved and starts searching. Yusa goes farther away and notices something in the bushes. When he checks, he finds Chinatsu hiding there. She is safe but looks very sad. sad. They all return to the house and wait for Chinatsu's mom to pick her up. Mayumi, feeling guilty, tries to talk to Chinatsu gently. Chinatsu begins to open up. She shares that she had a fight with her school friends. She says she didn't like the things her friends enjoyed and said some mean words to them. That's why they got angry with her. Ritsu listens to her story and calmly explains that everyone is different. People have different likes and dislikes, and it's not nice to make fun of others for what they enjoy. Mayumi tells Chinatsu to just say sorry to her friends, but Chinatsu says it's too hard. She feels like no one wants to be her friend anymore. Chinatsu becomes very upset and says she doesn't want to live anymore. Sumiko and Mayumi sit close to her and comfort her. They tell her that sometimes life feels heavy, especially for kids, but the sadness doesn't stay forever. If she tries her best and keeps going, things will get better slowly. Then Shiro says that the bamboo game is finally ready. He invites Chinatsu to bring her friends on the weekend to play the game. This gives Chinatsu a little bit of hope. A few days later, Chinatsu came back again. This time, she is alone. She quietly says she wants pudding. The others think her plan to fix things with her friends did not work, but then she smiles and says she wants the pudding so she can share it with her school friends. Soon, the children arrive, and everyone starts playing the bamboo game. It turns out to be very big and exciting. They all have so much fun. At one point, they even eat noodles using the bamboo parts of the game. Sumiko already made pudding, so they all enjoyed it together. After a few more days, Chinatsu stops visiting the house. Shiro and Yusa talk about it and guess that she is probably having fun with her friends now. They understand something important. Sometimes people leave not because they don't care, but because they have found their own happiness. One evening, everyone in the house receives a message from the neighborhood safety group. The message warns that a strange man has been seen in the area. People think he might be dangerous and tell everyone to be careful. Right away, the girls living in the house start laughing and joke that the man might be Shiro. They are just teasing because Shiro often acts in a funny and strange way. But when they read the full message and look at the man's description, they realize it's not Shiro. The man sounds different. Even so, the girls keep saying that he looks a little like Shiro. Shiro quickly says he is not a stalker. He says she is just a masochist and tells them it's a very different thing. The girls start sharing their own scary moments when they felt someone was following them. Mayumi and Sayaka talk about some creepy men they met before. Ritsu stays quiet during this talk. She listens to them and begins thinking. She slowly remembers times when she also met strange men, but she never thought much about it. Now she realizes those moments were not normal and could have been dangerous too. Sumiko, who is older and very careful, tells Ritsu that she should stop reading books for a while. She says Ritsu always has her head in a book and doesn't notice what is happening around her. This could be risky if a stalker is nearby. Ritsu becomes sad and upset after hearing this. She feels hurt and tells Sumiko that if something bad happens, Yusa will help her and keep her safe. The next day at school, Ritsu goes to Yusa and asks him if they can walk home together. Yusa is surprised because Ritsu usually does not ask things like that. He feels very happy inside. As they walk home, they don't say much, but Yusa enjoys the walk. He feels very lucky to be next to her. Later at home, Mayumi starts teasing Yusa. She says Ritsu is being selfish for making Yusa help her with her problems, but Yusa doesn't get angry. He says it makes him happy to be near Ritsu, and he is glad to help her. A few days go by, and then good news comes. The police catch the stalker. Everyone is happy, and Ritsu gets very excited. She grabs her bag and runs off to the library, because now she feels safe again and wants to read. But it gets late at night, and Ritsu does not come home. Yusa starts to worry about her. He asks Sumiko, but she says Ritsu is probably still reading and lost in her book. Just then, some girls come running with bad news. They say another man who looks like the first stalker has been seen in the same area. He is very close to where Ritsu is walking. Meanwhile, Ritsu is walking home. She is reading her book while walking and doesn't notice anything around her. She doesn't see the strange man following her. The man moves closer and is planning to attack, but just in time, Yusa shows up. He stops the man before anything bad happens. The others arrive quickly, and the police come and arrest the second man. At home, Yusa scolds Ritsu. He tells her she needs to be more careful and not walk around reading books, especially at night. Ritsu feels like arguing, but she knows he is right. So instead, she says thank you and promises to be more careful from now on. The next day, during the holidays, Yusa feels a bit bored. He decides to ask Ritsu if she can recommend a book like the one she was reading. Ritsu smiles and says she will find a good book for him. Yusa feels very happy and starts imagining cute moments where they sit and read together. But soon, the quiet moment ends. Sumiko is lying on the floor and loudly says she doesn't want to work today. Everyone laughs. They all decide to go eat outside, but nobody wants to pay the bill. Luckily, Sumiko has a friend who owns a restaurant, so they decide to go there. At the restaurant, Sumiko and her friend talk. The friend says the restaurant needs a new worker, but the workers there are strange, and it's hard to find someone who can handle them. Then, they walk into another room where Yusa is talking with the girls from his house. They see how well Yusa deals with strange people and keeps everyone calm. Sumiko's friend is surprised and says Yusa would be perfect for the job. He offers him the position, but Yusa says no. He remembers how people in high school used to call him Weirdo Magnet, because weird people always came to him, but they were all kind and nice. Sumiko reminds him of this nickname and laughs about it. The others also laugh, and Yusa becomes embarrassed. He quickly says no again to the job. Back at home, the girls try to make him feel better. They all share funny nicknames people gave them in the past. Soon, everyone is laughing and having fun. Yusa starts feeling better again. The next morning, Sumiko and her friend don't give up. They try again to make Yusa take the job. They even make him wear the restaurant uniform. He still says no. Suddenly, Ritsu walks in. She is also wearing a uniform and brings the books Yusa asked for. She looks shy and very cute. Yusa is shocked to see her like that. After seeing Ritsu in a uniform, he becomes quiet and then says yes to the job. The next day, Yusa gets ready for his first day at work. Ritsu helps him wear the uniform because it's a little hard to put on. When he is ready, Ritsu tells him he looks very good. Yusa smiles brightly, happy to hear that from her. Yusa starts his new job at the restaurant. Sumiko's friend, the owner, shows him around and introduces the other workers. One of them calls himself Yamamoto, but that's not his real name. He is so into the restaurant's theme that it starts to annoy Yusa. The owner later tells Yusa that his real name is Huu. Inside, Yusa another worker named Koko, who seems normal at first but soon, another strange person appears. Of course, Yusa ends up dealing with him too, like always. After finishing his first shift, Yusa comes back home. Sumiko asks how it went. That makes Yusa remember his high school days, which makes him feel a little sad. Some of the others try to cheer him up. Mayumi says her friends never invite her to parties. Ritsu doesn't even have any close friends at the moment. Then Yusa's phone rings. It's Tagami inviting him to a party. Mayumi teases him because she's jealous he got invited. The party is being hosted by someone from Yusa's old school. The girls realize the person a lot of makeup, and Yusa figures out that it's Hayashi, the girl from his high school who used to say she could see ghosts. Everyone thinks it's cool if Yusa goes, but then Tagami messages again and says he told Hayashi Yusa might come, and she doesn't want him there. Mayumi laughs when she hears that Yusa is now uninvited. At work, Yusa can't stop thinking about his life and how things are going with Ritsu, but he has to stay focused because customers arrive. And guess who walks in? Tagami, Hayashi, and the rest of the group. At home, the others feel bored, so Sumiko suggests they go visit Yusa at work. Everyone agrees, even Ritsu comes along, and Sumiko dresses her in a special costume that matches the restaurant theme. Back at the restaurant, Tagami is surprised to see Yusa working there. Hayashi quickly starts lying about her past with Yusa, trying to cover things up. Hawa tries to serve them, but they're rude and hard to deal with. Eventually, Yusa has no choice but to serve them himself. Later, the group from home arrives and is surprised by the restaurant's theme. They notice Yusa is working hard. Even while those old classmates keep teasing him, they bring up memories from high school and Hayashi keeps lying about Yusa. The girls hear everything but wait to see how Yusa will react. He stays quiet, clearly stressed and upset. Then Ritsu walks in, looking prettier than ever. She calls out to Yusa and says their group has a table and he should join them. The rude guys are stunned by how pretty she is. One of them makes a comment, asking if she's making a personal request, trying to hint at something inappropriate. This time, Yusa looks angry. He can handle jokes about himself, but not about Ritsu, but Rizz calmly answers that it is a personal request because she wants to be with Yusa. Mayumi and Sayaka, not wanting to fall behind, step in and grab Yusa too. They make the others jealous. Mayumi also mocks Hayashi a little, and Sayaka throws a fake eyelash, pretending it's a bug. Everyone freaks out, and when they realize what it is, Hayashi covers her face, trying to hide her makeup. Outside, Mayumi pulls Yusa aside. She tells him it's fine to be kind, but he should defend himself too. Yusa says it's already over. She tells him to go find Ritsu, who's probably waiting for him. But when they look, Ritsu is already gone. Mayumi explains that Ritsu must have felt too embarrassed by what happened and couldn't face Yusa after saying such bold things. Yusa now understands how much Ritsu tried for him. He finally realizes his feelings. He really truly likes her. Tears of joy come to his eyes. Later at home, Sumiko cooks hamburgers to lift everyone's mood. Ritsu gives Yusa a book to read, a special one she picked just for him. It's her quiet way of showing care. Yusa notices this and feels really happy. Even though things got a little crazy, Yusa isn't sad at all. He's happy because Ritsu said those kind words and because he has people around him who truly care. At home, Yusa gets a phone call from Tagami. Tagami says he wants to meet Mayumi because he saw her at the restaurant. Yusa warns him that Mayumi is the kind of woman who usually brings trouble, but Tagami doesn't give up and keeps asking, so Yusa finally agrees. Meanwhile, Mayumi is in a really bad mood. She's drunk and upset because her boss has a new boyfriend, but she doesn't. She complains a lot and drinks more. After a while, Sumiko brings out a guitar that used to belong to Mayumi. Out of frustration, Mayumi takes it and climbs onto the roof, starting a random concert. Yusa is worried because he knows Mayumi's songs might be very sad. And he's right. The lyrics are depressing, but her voice is actually nice, which helps the mood a little. Ritsu is nearby, so Yusa asks if the noise bothers her. She says no because she has gotten used to it over time. They begin talking about the places they used to live. Yusa always had strange roommates, while Ritsu lived quietly with her mom. Mayumi keeps singing and then starts complaining about how unlucky she is with men. She gets even more emotional. The others try to cheer her up. They tell her she's fine the way she is and promise to always support her. Later, everyone goes to bed, but suddenly, there's a loud scream from the girls' room. Yusa jumps up to check, but he bumps into Ritsu in the hallway. She's clearly frightened. They find Mayumi wearing very conservative pajamas, which surprises everyone. Things calm down, and Yusa wants to know what happened. Ritsu explains that while she was reading, a centipede fell from the ceiling onto her book. She closed the book to trap it and went to ask Sumiko for help. But Sumiko isn't home. She's usually the one who deals with bugs. Ritsu then went to Mayumi's room instead, but Mayumi, half asleep without her glasses, thought Ritsu was holding a centipede, but it was actually her own underwear. With the panic over, Shiro starts talking about scary facts about centipedes, which freaks the girls out again. Ritsu gets so scared she asks Yusa, with a shy look, to get rid of the centipede for her. Being the nice guy he is, Yusa agrees. Everyone decides to help. They first go into Mayumi's room to find her glasses. It's a total mess with empty alcohol bottles everywhere. Then they go to Ritsu's room, which makes Yusa really excited. Her room is full of books, just like he imagined. Ritsu shows him the book where she trapped the centipede, but when they check, it's not there anymore. This scares everyone even more because now it could be anywhere. They carefully check her room, then go into the hallway. It's dark and quiet. Yusa sees something fall from above, but he doesn't say anything because he doesn't want to scare Ritsu. Sadly, the centipede ends up on her back. Yusa quietly tries to remove it, but Ritsu moves and realizes what's happening. She panics and almost spills boiling water on herself. Yusa quickly saves her, but he gets hurt in the process. Ritsu sees this and blushes, realizing he protected her. Yusa also feels shy about what just happened, so they take a break to calm down. Just then, Mayumi and Shiro show up. Mayumi spots the centipede, but Sayaka arrives and easily kills it. She says she's used to dealing with bugs. Finally, everyone can go back to sleep peacefully. As Yusa is about to leave, Ritsu sees the burn on his hand from the boiling water. She stops him right away and gently treats his injury, crying a little while thanking him. The next day, Mayumi is still feeling sad about her boss and her love life. Suddenly, Tagami shows up at the house without warning. He sees Mayumi and starts flirting, which cheers her up, but Yusa pulls him aside and tells him to stop playing with older women. Tagami then reveals his real age, which surprises everyone and helps calm the situation. Mayumi is no longer upset, and things return to normal. Yusa is getting ready for work, but since he still has time, he starts reading the book that Ritsu gave him. While he reads, Mayumi and Shiro begin to bother him. Tired of their teasing, Yusa decides to leave early. At work, his boss has bought a bunch of books to put on the shelves so customers can read them. After placing all the books, there's still some empty space. Yu suggests asking Ritsu if she has some old books they can use. Ritsu goes home, and Sumiko already knows about the situation. She asks if Ritsu wants to lend books to the cafe. Ritsu agrees, saying she can read those books anytime if they're at the cafe. She also says that anyone who helps will get cake, so everyone starts helping right away. Later, Ritsu visits the cafe and gets excited seeing so many books. She immediately starts reading, which makes Yusa really happy because now he can see her often while working. Outside, Shiro notices Hayashi walking toward the cafe. She wants to talk to Yusa because she feels bad about how she treated him before. She remembers how kind and helpful he was in high school. Shiro asks her how she feels about him, and she starts thinking about the past. Suddenly, Yusa calls Shiro inside but sees Hayashi with him. Everyone hears her name. Hayashi starts crying as she apologizes to Yusa and thanks him for everything in the past. Her makeup starts running, so Yusa tells her to come inside and fix it. Inside, Hayashi asks why Yusa forgave her so easily. He replies that it's okay because he now has people who care about him, and that's enough. Hayashi goes to clean up in the bathroom. Mayumi and Sayaka walk in. They realize Hayashi might still like Yusa, but they know he only has feelings for Ritsu. Outside, Hiro starts talking to Hayashi about spirits and guardians. Hayashi gets interested because she still enjoys those topics from high school. Later at home, Yusa asks for help with his summer homework. He wants to write a summary of the book Ritsu gave him. Mayumi notices and starts teasing him again. But Yusa doesn't care, he just wants to finish the homework and talk with Ritsu. While they talk, we find out that Hayashi now comes to the cafe a lot. She used to read many books in school, so she enjoys visiting. Mayumi jokes that Hayashi comes because of Yusa, but Ritsu doesn't say anything. As the day goes on, Yusa leaves for work. Then Chinatsu shows up at the house for a visit. She asks Shiro to help with her summer homework. In the yard, Shiro decides to make shiny mud balls and everyone joins in, even Ritsu. While waiting for the mud balls to dry, they learn that Sumiko is visiting a friend and nobody knows where Sayaka is. It's time to polish the mud balls now, and Chinatsu tries to start a fun talk. She asks Ritsu if she's ever gone on a date with Yusa. Ritsu blushes and says no. Chinatsu says it's clear that Yusa likes Ritsu a lot. Ritsu replies that Yusa is just kind to everyone and that she's not special. Chinatsu doesn't believe her and keeps asking questions. When Hayashi's name comes up, Shiro teases Ritsu, saying she sounds jealous because Yusa is also nice to other girls, but Mayumi stops the talk because she doesn't want to hear anything about love or dating. After work, Yusa returns home and feels that something is wrong. He asks Ritsu what happened. She looks angry and upset, but only says everything is fine and walks away. This leaves Yusa very confused and worried. At home, everyone is watching a show about animals, and they start thinking about getting a pet for the house. They all suggest different animals. Yusa asks Ritsu what kind of pet she wants, but she gives a short answer, showing she is still upset since Chinatsu's visit. Suddenly, Sayaka comes in and says she likes big dogs. She teases Yusa by calling him a big guard dog, which sounds like she's saying she likes him. Ritsu gets angry and leaves the room. Yusa is annoyed by Sayaka but can't tease her back because she has no weak spots. Just then, someone knocks at the door. It's Maharu Tsunita, Sayaka's old friend from high school. She comes to stay the night. Sayaka becomes nervous and wants her to leave quickly. But Sumiko says it's fine for her to sleep over since friends don't visit often. Tsunita sees the weapons in the girl's room and remembers how Sayaka once broke a shed. She also says they used to read manga and YA novels together. Sayaka tries to stop her, but Mayumi and Yusa quickly realize that this girl knows all of Sayaka's secrets. So, they invite her to sit in the living room. Everyone gathers, and Tsuneta starts telling funny stories about Sayaka. Everyone laughs. Sayaka drinks too much and falls asleep. The next morning, Sayaka wakes Tsuneta up so they can get ready for a meeting. After a lot of effort, Tsuneta is dressed and ready. Yusa helps her carry her bags, and on the way, Sayaka accidentally tells him about something she's afraid of. Now Yusa has something to use against her. The next day, Yusa brings a friend's pet to the house. It turns out to be a rabbit, Sayaka's biggest fear. She runs out of her room, crashes into Yusa, and he sees her with makeup on. She panics and threatens him to keep quiet. Later, Yusa comes home with Ritsu, like always. He notices that she's more friendly now and talks about the books she enjoys. At school, a classmate named Mamura tries to chat with her, but Ritsu is too focused on reading to notice. Yusa helps her by pointing out Mamura, and they finally start talking. Yusa feels happy because Ritsu is making a new friend. One day after school, Mamura and Ritsu walk home together. They talk about their families, where they live, and even about love. Ritsu quickly says she has no one she likes. Mamura asks if she can visit her house, and Ritsu gets nervous because the people at home are a bit strange. Yusa overhears them since he's walking the same way. He rushes home to clean up and get rid of the crazy housemates. Somehow he manages to do it. When Ritsu and Mamura arrive, the house looks peaceful. Shiro stays with Yusa and asks if he's okay. Yusa starts to think Ritsu doesn't need him anymore now that she has a new friend. He wonders if he still matters to her. Later in the dining room, Ritsu gets messages from Mamura. They exchanged phone numbers and emails. Ritsu feels a bit uncomfortable because she doesn't use her phone much and isn't used to texting. Yusa notices this, but Mayumi starts teasing him, saying he's being replaced. At school, Ritsu seems overwhelmed by everything going on with Mamura. Yusa hopes she's okay and that she enjoys having new friends. Mamura then invites her to hang out on the weekend. She agrees because she thinks it's a visit to a bookstore with book lovers. On the day of the outing, Ritsu goes, but she soon realizes it's not a bookstore visit. They go straight to karaoke with some boys. Sayaka sees them at the station but doesn't take them seriously. At home, Sayaka casually mentions seeing Ritsu with some guys. This worries Yusa a lot because he knows Ritsu doesn't like those kinds of places. At the party, everything seems fine at first. The group talks about interesting books and Ritsu feels okay, but things change when one guy starts judging everyone's book preferences. He even says bad things about the reading taste of people from Ritsu's home, especially Yusa's. After hearing this, the guy starts getting too close to Ritsu and makes her uncomfortable. Just then, he gets a call from Mayumi, but it's actually Yusa using her phone. He's worried about Ritsu and wants to check on her. Ritsu answers and says she's not okay, but she'll handle it. Yusa knows she's strong, but he still waits at the bus stop to make sure she gets home safely. While walking back, they talk about how Ritsu can speak honestly with Mamura without sounding mean. Later, at school, Ritsu talks to Mamura and clearly says she doesn't want to go to parties or places like that again. Mamura admits she was feeling lonely because of a fight with her friends. Ritsu gives her kind advice and encourages her to fix things with them. In the end, Mamura becomes close with her old friends again. Ritsu and Yusa leave school together. As they walk, they see Mamura with her friends. Mamura gives Ritsu an angry look, blaming her for not being friends anymore. On the way home, Ritsu starts to cry. She feels really hurt. Yusa walks beside her but doesn't say anything because he feels guilty for not helping earlier. At home, everything is normal. Mayumi keeps joking about other people's love problems. and Shiro is his usual self, but Ritsu is too tired to join them, so she goes to her room. Yusa also goes to his room to do his homework, but instead of studying, he picks up the book Ritsu once recommended. He wants to understand it better to feel closer to her. That night, everyone gathers in the dining room to try a wine that Sumi got as a gift. It's only for adults. Somehow, Ritsu ends up drinking some and gets drunk. Everyone gets nervous because they've never seen her like this, but in her drunk state, Ritsu starts saying things she normally hides. Everyone listens quietly and begins to understand her feelings better. They gently tell her that Mamura might not be the best friend for her and remind her that it's okay for friends to be different, as long as they understand and care for each other. Ritsu takes in their words, but suddenly gets upset at Yusa. She tells him he's too kind and never stands up for himself. She says he always sees the good in people, even when he shouldn't. The group changes the topic, and Yusa mentions he saved some cookies for Ritsu because she said she was hungry. They go to check the boys' room. The next morning, the girls wake up in the boys' room, and the boys are asleep outside. Yusa wakes up early and sees Ritsu's notes. He decides to write something on them. Ritsu walks in and sees what he wrote. Yusa gets nervous, but Ritsu smiles because she feels happy seeing him put in effort to read the book she likes. They sit and talk about the notes, and Yusa says it feels like they're writing a diary together. Ritsu blushes and quickly leaves the room, embarrassed, but before she goes, Yusa asks for her phone number and email. Ritsu smiles and says yes. At school, the festival is coming soon. The girls, influenced by Mamura, decide their class should do a butler cafe, but the boys don't want to wear fancy costumes. They ask Ritsu to join too, and she has to wear a costume as well. At home, everyone finds out Ritsu will dress up, and they're excited to see this new side of her, but someone suspects it's Mamura's idea again, and Ritsu gets worried because she once pretended to like books. Yusa, who is still upset about Mamura, says that when someone recommends a book, it's because they truly like it. Mayumi and Sayaka think Yusa is too kind and shouldn't believe in people like Mamura so easily. Ritsu quietly thinks about what Yusa said. To calm things down, Yusa suggests that everyone go to the festival together. Everyone agrees since it sounds fun. At school, Yusa's class picks a restaurant theme with apprentice-style outfits, exactly like the ones at Yusa's old job. The others find out, and Yusa is asked to get the uniforms. When he leaves, Mamura tries to talk to Ritsu. She says sorry for pushing her to join and asks for a book back, saying she really enjoyed it. Ritsu realizes Mamura isn't a bad person, just very outgoing and not careful with quiet people. At the library, Ritsu returns her books, keeps the one Mamura gave her, thinking it would be perfect for Yusa. Later, Yusa greets her from outside the window, but she pretends not to see him. Still, he doesn't mind and visits his old workplace to ask for the uniforms. The owner agrees, but only if Yusa works there again. Yusa refuses at first, but his classmates pressure him until he says yes. At the restaurant, Hayashi is there and jokingly asks where his girlfriend is, meaning Ritsu. Yusa gets excited thinking people see them that way. At home, the others ask about Yusa, and they're told he'll be late preparing for the festival. Later, it's shown that Yusa has agreed to work at the cafe again just to help with the costumes. At school, Ritsu tries to talk to Yusa, but classmates keep interrupting her. She feels even sadder. Back at home, Sumiko and the others say they miss Yusa because he brings balance to the house. Mayumi teases Ritsu, saying she never talks because she's always reading, which makes Ritsu feel worse, but Sumiko steps in and helps Ritsu understand something. Though it's not clear what yet. In class, Yusa feels frustrated he can't spend time with Ritsu. Tagami jokes that he doesn't get why Yusa likes her, but admits that Yusa has good taste and would always pick someone like Ritsu. Yusa, however, feels like she's becoming distant. He tells himself it's fine, no matter how much he likes her, she doesn't like him the same way. On the day of the festival, everyone comes to see Yusa working, but Mayumi and Sayaka just come to tease him. Sumiko manages to control the chaos, and they leave to see Ritsu's booth. Right after, Yusa's old classmates show up to tease him, bringing up Hayashi. Yusa scares them off but thinks Hayashi won't come. To his surprise, she shows up with the cafe owner. Meanwhile, Ritsu is working in the kitchen, but Mamura asks her to come help at the front. It turns out to be a trick, and they dress Ritsu up in a cute outfit. She looks amazing, like a book character everyone loves. People praise her as she carries a sign outside. Suddenly, she sees Shiro in the middle of the crowd and pulls him away. As Ritsu walks through the hall, she sees Yusa talking to Hayashi. He tells Hayashi she should leave, but doesn't explain the full reason. Hayashi says she'd rather stay and wants to visit the booths with him. Ritsu sees this and misunderstands, thinking something is going on, and decides not to visit Yusa's booth. Yusa actually wants to go find Ritsu, but a classmate pulls him away. Just then, the high school boys recognize Hayashi. Ritsu, still walking around, feels uncomfortable from all the attention her costume is getting. She sees the boys bothering Hayashi and hears them say bad things about Yusa. Hayashi defends him, saying they are nothing compared to him. This makes the boys angry, and they start pushing her. Ritsu sees this and tries to stop them but ends up getting hit by her sign. Scared, she runs to hide in an empty classroom and calls the only person she trusts, Yusa. When Yusa hears her, he rushes to help without thinking twice, but when he arrives, he's dressed as a maid, which makes Ritsu burst out laughing. He explains the cafe owner forced him and the others to wear it. Then he gently scolds her for putting herself in danger. Still, he feels happy that she trusted him enough to ask for help. Yusa tells Ritsu he stayed up late reading the book she recommended. Ritsu is surprised. She brings up the video game she gave him, but he says that even though he likes games, the book was more fun to read because she gave it to him. They keep talking about the book, and Yusa notices they should probably return before someone finds them, but Ritsu doesn't want to go yet. She wants to stay with him and talk more. This makes Yusa blush because her smile is so genuine. After the festival, they walk home together like always. Ritsu says Yusa was right, Mamura is a good person. That makes Yusa happy. Later, Ritsu brings up video games, which is rare because they usually only talk about books. She quietly thinks to herself that she doesn't want to lose this bond with Yusa, and she'll do everything to make sure they don't grow apart.